Good, pause YouTube, how's it going everybody? Got for you guys today my first Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Wi-Fi battle. I know I'm a little late to the party, but this is one hell of a battle that I thought would be a great way to start off the return of Wi-Fi battles to this channel. And of course guys, make sure to go check out my opponent, HydreigonMaster635. His channel and Twitter link will be down in the description. So with that being said, let's get right into the battle. So going into this match, the biggest threat I saw on Cody's side of the field was going to be that Greninja, just because I really have no safe switching, so I really have to try to keep up offensive pressure and prevent him from being able to freely switch into it. So we both lead off with Rotom. He goes for the Will-O-Wisp as I go for the Hydro Pump. I didn't go for Will-O-Wisp because unfortunately this Rotom does not carry Will-O-Wisp. I actually have Hidden Power Ice for Mega Salamence, and of course when I run HP Ice Rotom, nobody runs Mega Salamence, but when I switch it up they start to run Mega Salamence, so that was rather annoying because if I had Will-O-Wisp it would have been nice to be able to burn that Rotom, but I guess it's not too big of a deal as he does end up going before me, which means I will be able to get switch initiative. Plus I'm pretty positive he's not going to switch directly into his Landorus on the off chance that I did want to go for a Will-O-Wisp, as I'm able to Volt Switch out from this Conketer. I can go right into my Latios and I can basically just go for a free Psyshock because I know he's not going to risk me Draco Meteoring and switching directly into his Greninja. Unfortunately at the time of this battle I did not have Surf on my Latios, which was rather annoying because you're going to see that this Heatran is a major pain in my side. Even though I have ways to deal with it, after this I put Surf on Latios. Like seriously, you're going to see that this Heatran is the bane of my existence. So I switched directly into my Sharpedo as he ends up going for the Protect. Sorry about that. And then I'm going to go for the Crunch, predicting him to want to bring in the Rotom. Now here I make a bit of a questionable play, and a rather aggressive play if I do say so myself. And I'm going to go ahead and Mega Evolve, and I'm going to go for the Crunch so I can knock out this Rotom. A reason being is that I don't want this Rotom to be around for this battle to freely allow him to Volt Switch, or almost Volt Switch, because I'm not going to switch my Landorus into it, or spread Will-O-Wisps. Unfortunately though, now my Sharpedo being adamant, I believe is stuck at 309 speed, which means I'm not going to be really outspeeding much on his team. However though, I'm still adamant max attack, which means Sharpedo is still going to be able to put in work in this battle. So I switched directly into my Landorus, predicting him to want to go for the Mach Punch. Luckily for me, he does not go for the knockoff, because my Landorus is the fastest thing on my team and the only thing on my team that cannot speed his Greninja, which means I absolutely have to keep the Choice Scarf on him if I want to be able to outspeed and finish off that Greninja. As he brings in his Landorus, I do predict that and I go for the U-turn. I was close to going for the Earthquake, but ultimately U-turn would have been my better play as I U-turn into my Heatran. I know this may seem odd, but the reason why I did this is because if he does want to go ahead and U-turn, I'm not going to be taking super effective damage from it, and my Sharpedo would be taking super effective damage. Plus Sharpedo can live in Earthquake, but I don't want him to take any unnecessary damage. Plus with Heatran, after I protect and see what he wants to lock himself into, I can make the appropriate play. Like this turn, I switched into my Landorus, predicting him to go for another Earthquake, but he actually brought in Greninja, which means now I cannot speed Greninja and I can go for the U-turn. I was hoping and praying for whatever dumb reason Cody would stay in, allow me to finish off Greninja, but no, Cody is obviously compatible, and he's going to go ahead and switch into his Landorus as I bring back in my Heatran. Again, I can go for Protect, see what he wants to do, but I actually make a really smart play, and I predict him to actually switch out or go for U-turn, but I go for Lava Plume as he brings in Heatran. The reason why I went for Lava Plume was because I thought he would bring in Greninja, and I want to get off damage on that and even possibly a burn. But that is not the case, as he did bring in Heatran. I probably should have gone for Stealth Rock, so in the end, me Lava Plume wasn't an entirely bad play, but the better play would have been to probably go for Stealth Rocks. As I bring in my Sharpedo, predicting him to go for Stealth Rocks or maybe even the Earth Power, I'm going to go ahead and go for the Earthquake, which was so dumb. Seriously, I had no reason to Earthquake. I should have just gone for Waterfall. I don't know what I was thinking there, because I might have been able to knock out this Conketer as I protect, thinking that he would go for the knockoff, thinking that I would switch out, which means if I did stay in, I could have gone for Waterfall. And then last second, I switch out into my Landorus as he does end up going for Mach Punch, because as I mentioned earlier, I absolutely need to keep the Choice Scarf on my Landorus for his Greninja, so that was a really risky play on my part. As I go for the U-turn on this Conketer, he's just going to go for the knockoff again as I bring in my Clefable. Can I just say, why is Clefable and Conketer, why are Clefable and Conketer the same size? does anybody else find that a tad bit weird, or is it just me? So I switch into my Sharpedo, predicting him to bring in Heatran, and now I'm inside. I can go for a Crunch, or I can go for a Waterfall. Ultimately, I decided to go for Waterfall because I don't want to risk Cody staying in after protecting. Well, I guess it didn't really matter if I went for Crunch or Protect, but I wanted to ensure that I would get off a huge amount of damage on something, as I'm actually able to knock out the Concoder. Plus, I guess the switch into Concoder was kind of obvious because at that point, Concoder being at that low amount of HP really wouldn't have done anything for him in this battle at that point besides be death fodder. So yeah, Waterfall was definitely the safest and better play in my opinion. As he brings in Mega Sceptile, obviously, can I just say, Mega Sceptile looks so beautiful. I love the shade of blue, and just, oh, I have to use shiny Mega Sceptile. It looks so cool. And I'm basically going to fodder off my Rotom, which, I don't know, with it being burned, I guess it wasn't too bad of a play, but I feel that I probably could have still got use out of Rotom later in this match. Either way, though, I do get a free switch into my Landers, and I know that whatever move I have will not be able to knock him out. So what I'm going to do is just go straight for the U-turn, as he ends up switching directly into his Landers. In the back of my mind, I really wanted to go for Stone Edge, but I was like, well, in the end, U-turn can gain me momentum. It's definitely my safer play. Plus, if I miss on the Sceptile, he might be able to finish me off. So U-turning was definitely my better play. As I U-turn back into my Heatran, again, I make a risky play and I predict him to not go for Earthquake. And now I'm going to be able to hopefully get on my Stealth Rocks. Although I was very close to going for the Lava Plume again, thinking that he would bring in Greninja. But because I did that earlier, I came to the conclusion that he's probably just going to switch back into his own Heatran, thinking that I want to go for Lava Plume again. As I'm finally able to get up my rocks, which should have been up a lot sooner. As we both stay in, I'm staying in because I want to see what his last move is. I know he has Protect, I know he has Lava Plume and Stealth Rocks, but I don't know if he has Toxic, Roar, or Earth Power, and he reveals to me that he has Roar, which is good and bad. It's good because now I know his full moveset. It's bad because he can just freely phase around when I have my Heatran in and rack up Stealth Rock damage on my Landers, which can really come to bite me later in the battle. So I'm going to stay in, I'm going to make the aggressive play, go straight for the Earthquake, and then I predict him to stay in, predicting me to switch out, predicting him to bring in his Landers, but no, Cody does make the safe play, brings back in his Landers, and he's going to be able to obviously not be affected by this Earthquake because he's a flying type, and I'm going to be forced to switch out myself, as he can basically freely go for the U-turn, but he makes a really nice and aggressive play, and he actually ends up going for the knockoff. This is bad because I wanted to keep my Heatran around to take on his Sceptile, and now with me being weakened by the knockoff, him having Stealth Rocks up and me not having leftovers, Heatran is not really going to be doing much in this battle. As this turn, I'm thinking, okay, he's probably going to bring in his own Heatran, so I'm going to double switch into my Sharpedo, but no, he completely catches me off guard as he brings in Greninja, and I get extremely lucky as he misses the Gunk Shot. You're going to see that this miss is very crucial and the remainder of this battle. Then again, Gunk Shot is 80 accuracy, so you can't really be entirely too upset, but I can understand why he would be frustrated at that, because he would have been able to knock out my Sharpedo. So he brings in Sceptile. Obviously, I don't want to stay in and get knocked out because I still have use for Sharpedo, considering that it gets a free kill anytime I have it in on Heatran. So he turns out to go for the substitute, and I'm actually happy that he hit Focus Blast, because I would have felt bad if he missed Gunk Shot and Focus Blast. As he gets a crit, I highly doubt the crit mattered, just because Sceptile does have a pretty good special attack stat, and I was at a, well, decently low amount of HP. As I bring in my Clefable, the reason why I did this is because Clefable is the best thing on my team to not only take and live a hit, but I can also guarantee that I will be able to break his substitute and eventually beat the Sceptile one-on-one, as I make a really bad play. Honestly, looking back at it, once I was rewatching the battle, I go for the Moonblast again. I thought he would go for substitute, but even if he had done that, there was literally no reason that I should have not just gone for the Moonlight this turn, as he brings in Heatran, because the switch out was very obvious. So he's going to go for the Lava Plume. Even if he burns me, I do have Magic Guard, so it doesn't really matter, as I am able to live the Lava Plume. I can go for the Moonlight. I have since updated this Clefable. This was Max Defense, Max HP Clefable. It's now the normal set, but being Max Defense, Max HP actually kind of helps me later in the match, as you'll see. So here, I switch it to my Latios, and the reason why this is so crazy sped up is because it's literally me just staying in and foddering off my Latios, because Latios is outsped by Sceptile, outsped by Landers, and I can't do anything to this Heatran. So I'm just trying to get off as much damage as I can so I can bring a Torpedo and I can just safely go for the crunch. I get a crit with the Draco Meteor, but I believe the damage calc said that the minimum damage that Crunch would have done was like 53%, so I don't think that that crit actually ends up mattering. You guys can run your damage calc for Adamant, Strong Jaw, Max Attack, Torpedo 2, most likely specially defensive Heatran. So Cody does end up going for the Protect, just wanted to gain back a little bit more of Leftovers recovery, as I'm basically guaranteed to knock something out on his team as he brings in the Sceptile, even if he brought in Landorus, because Landorus is at a low amount of HP after Intimidate and Rocks damage. Crunch still would have been able to finish him off, so it didn't really matter what he brought in at that point. As I get rid of the Sceptile, he's now going to bring in the Landorus, which means I'm going to be forced to switch out, but because I do know that he's Choice Scarfed, what I can do is go for the Protect to see if he wants to go for the U-turn, the Earthquake, or the Stone Edge, and ultimately he makes the better play and goes for the Stone Edge, and I'm going to be forced to switch out because I need to keep Sharpedo around just for the sole fact that it takes on both his Landers and his Heatran, as where my Landers can only take on one of the two, because if I go for Stone Edge, I won't knock out Heatran. If I go for Earthquake, well, actually I may knock out Heatran now that I look at it, but at the time I was thinking I won't knock out Heatran with Stone Edge, so I have to keep my Sharpedo around more than I have to keep Landorus around. So I'm going to be able to live the Stone Edge. Thankfully he doesn't crit me and risks going for another Stone Edge to try and crit me, as I can go for the Moonlight, and that Moonlight is actually my saving grace alongside that Gong Shot, as you'll see. So I switch into my Landorus basically as Death Fodder, because now once he knocks me out I can just bring back in Torpedo, I click Waterfall, and I either knock out Landorus or I knock out the Heatran. And that is pretty much going to be game, because if I knock out the Heatran with Waterfall, he may be able to knock me, well, he may knock me out with his Landorus, but then I can just bring Clefable and finish off Landorus with a Moonblast, and that will basically be the match. So I knock out Heatran. Even if he had switched out, it really wouldn't have mattered or changed the outcome of this match, as his last Pokemon, being this Landorus, will be able to outspeed me and knock me out with the Earthquake. I can then just bring in my Clefable, click Moonblast, and that is going to be the extremely very close, narrow 1-0 victory in my favor. So yeah, it was one hell of a battle. Like, holy crap, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time I was battling Cody, and I really hope you guys did enjoy this. And of course, if you guys did, make sure to hit the like button down below, guys. This is the return of Wi-Fi battles. Also, if you guys would like to battle me on Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire, then my Twitter link will be down in the description. That is really where I take all my battles nowadays. And just, yeah, hopefully y'all did enjoy. And with that being said, guys, I am back, and happy Thanksgiving and all that shenanigans. So later, everybody.